My name is Sergeant Myers. If you need to ask me something, it is just Sergeant or Sergeant Myers. I don't really care. Over on my right, your left is First Sergeant Brewer. You will either call him First Sergeant or First Sergeant Brewer. Nothing more, nothing less. Understood?
Yes, Sergeant.
Okay. As in your recruit training class, if you have a question, don't interrupt either of us when either of us are speaking. Just put a C like that. If you have, that's a comment. If you have a comment, we're talking about that. If you have a question, it's Q like that. C and Q's. You guys went through that in your recruit training. Everyone C. Yep.
Yes,
So,
Sergeant.
make sure you post it in the side chat. Otherwise, you may not be able to see it.
Copy.
Every now and again, we'll come to you for a question. If you have the answer to a question, don't just say me. Just say, Private Muller or Private Selby. Let us know who's answering it. Majority of the day one today is going to be in a classroom. I'm going to remind you guys to take notes. If you have a notepad, grab one. If not, open up a Word document. Just take fucking notes. Because at the end of this on day 4, there will be a quiz. The day 4 quiz happens after your FTX exercise. And it is a go, no-go exercise, meaning that if you fail that quiz, you'll recycle back to day 1 of OSUT and you have to do all this shit over again. So I recommend you guys take notes every day.
Copy.
Alright, either of you now need to use these 2 minutes to go get a drink or have a piss.
A firm. I'm gonna grab a notepad and pen.
Okay, you guys got 2 mics to unfuck yourselves and get ready.
Copy.
Alright. Another fun-filled day of OSUT.
Private Muller is set.
Alright. So, I'm going to take you guys over to the classroom now. When we get in there, take your hats off. When you go through the doors, on your left there'll be a little box. Pick up a radio, and there should be an inventory box, or a resupply box. Pick up a micro dagger as well. So, you guys need a radio and a micro dagger for the first portion of this. Let's go.
Hey, afternoon, Sapper.
You guys get in there, get your stuff, grab a seat.
Oh, you changed your name. Right on. Afternoon, Hidden.
I seem to not be able to grab a micro dagger.
Good, you confirmable.
Negative.
Right,
A firm.
follow me.
Hey, afternoon, Hoff. It's good morning here. Well, it's kind of good morning for me, too.
If you want to sit down, use your ace instructs on the chair, that will be Windows key. Private Muller, you've managed to cut yourself.
I have, yes.
Can't even fucking sit down without injuring himself.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Go ahead and stand back up again. And then just walk off. Sit back down. The fuck?
Try a different chair here.
Yeah,
No,
it's a
that's
skill
fine.
to be able to
There we
sit
go.
down. Alright, gentlemen. First thing we're going to be doing today is going over some radio protocol so we can practice proper communication. Part of that is going to be going over phonetic alphabets, phonetic numerals, as well as something known as pro words and phrases, or procedure words and phrases. So we're essentially going to teach you how to speak on the radio, as well as how to set up your radio. One of the most important, if not the most important tool that we have is our radios. If we do not have those, we would not be able to do what we do. So first and foremost, I want you guys to hold Control and press P as in Papa to open up your short range radio. You should see that big green PRC 152 pop up on your screen. You guys see that green radio on your screen?
A firm. Sergeant.
Alright. So I'm going to take you through what each thing does on this radio before we actually program it. So looking at the radio, at the top center stalk, you'll see that stalk that has numbers on it. That is your volume control. You right click it, increases volume. Left click it, decreases volume. You want to make sure you have that set somewhere at a reasonable level. Just at stock or at default, it's at 80 as far as volume. It's pretty good volume. That's what I generally leave mine at. It's loud enough to hear over a firefight, but not so goddamn loud it's going to blow out your eardrums. Now moving down from there, you have the display. That's that light green rectangle kind of towards the center. That display shows you two things. It shows you your channel and your frequency. A channel and a frequency are two different things. Alright, so the channel will say C1. The frequency will be a random series of numbers after that. Directly beneath that, in the top right corner, you have the CLR button. That CLR button will clear out the frequency that is in that display. So you will use that when you need to put a new frequency in. Directly beneath that, you have the ENT or enter button. That is how you will set a frequency. So when you clear out a frequency and type in a new one, you will then click that ENT button and it will set that channel to that frequency. Directly beneath that, we have the PRE plus and minus. PRE plus goes to the next channel. PRE minus goes to the previous channel. Pretty simple. Additionally, you can use the numbers on your number pad to quickly switch channels. Now, right next to the PRE minus, you have that right-facing arrow. That right-facing arrow sets a radio to speakers. Never click that button. And if you do, click it until it says headphones. Never want to set your short-range radio to speakers. If you set your short-range radio to speakers, anytime someone keys up on that radio frequency, it will be spread to everyone around you. Now, that definitely becomes an issue for those of us wearing headsets. Because oftentimes, when a radio is on speakers, it will cause a shit ton of feedback. Those of us wearing headsets will want to rip your fucking head off. But don't ever set your short range to speakers. Next to that, you have the left-facing arrow. That left-facing arrow will set an additional channel. This is used to monitor multiple radio channels at the same time. Right? Everybody in a leadership position here listens to a minimum of 2 radio channels at one time. So we will teach you how to do that. Lastly, in the very bottom left corner, you have that 0 button with the circular symbol on it. That is the stereo settings button. The stereo settings button allows you to listen to a single channel through a single ear. So you can listen to one channel in your left ear and another channel in your right ear. Makes it very handy when you're listening to multiple channels. Now, additionally, you will oftentimes hear a frequency referred to as a net. Alright, understand that that's what they're referring to is a frequency. So if they say platoon net, team net, squad net, whatever, they're talking about the radio frequency for that network. What we're going to do now is teach you how to actually program in some radio frequencies. And as far as the other numbers on the radio, the 1 through 9, just ignore them. They don't do anything. So what you're going to do is at that top right corner, that CLR button, I want you to click that, and it will get rid of that random series of numbers after the C1. Once that random series of numbers are gone, inside that display, you are going to type in 100.1. Once you've typed in 100.1, you are then going to click that ENT button and set that frequency. So it'll say C1 100.1. Once you have done that, you're going to go all the way down to that bottom left corner, that stereo settings button, and click that once. You should see it pop up in the corner of your screen where it'll say primary channel left ear only, or primary left ear only. Now once you have done that, I want you to click the PRE plus and go to channel 2. It'll say C2 and a random series of numbers. Once you are on channel 2, I want you to hit the CLR button, clear that frequency, and type in the frequency 100. Once it says C2 100, you will set that frequency with the ENT button. You will then go down to that left-facing arrow to set an additional channel. You will click that, and we'll change it from C2 to A2. So from Charlie 2 to Alpha 2. So right now your display should say Alpha 2 100. You will then go to that bottom left stereo settings button and click that twice. So it'll say primary left ear only, additional right ear only. And once you have finished with that, you will hit that PRE minus and go back to channel 1. That is very important. Anytime you set an additional channel, so when you make something say A2, A3, whatever channel it's on, when you change that from Charlie to Alpha, you need to make sure you go back to your primary channel. Otherwise, you will not be able to hear it. You have to be on your primary channel to be able to hear what is said on your primary channel. Your additional channel is the only one that you can hear in addition to your primary net. Alright, you guys tracking?
Yes,
Affirm.
Alright, so now you should be back on C1 100.1, correct?
Copy.
Copy.
Now you should hear me speaking to you in your left ear, correct?
Affirm.
Yes, First Sergeant.
And now you should hear me speaking to you in your right ear, correct?
Yes, First
Affirm.
Sergeant.
Alright, well, congratulations. One of you managed to set your radio to speakers, because I can hear myself speaking to you on your radio. So, go down to that right-facing arrow and fucking click it until it says headphones. So this is now a test to see if you fixed it. Congratulations, you did. Now, again, don't ever hit that fucking right-facing button. Or right-facing arrow.
Copy.
Alright, so now you guys know how to properly program your radio. Now it's a matter of how to properly speak on your radio. So, first and foremost, we're going to go over the phonetic numerals. Alright, phonetic numerals are just like normal everyday numerals, with the exception of 3 of them. Those 3 are going to be the numbers 3, 5, and 9. 3 pronounced phonetically, pronounced tree, like the thing with fucking leaves on it. 5 phonetically is fife, F-I-F-E. And 9 is niner, right? Everybody knows that one. Next, we're going to go into the phonetic alphabet. All right, we use the NATO phonetic alphabet, as in Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, so on and so forth. NATO phonetic alphabet, very, very quick, very easy to learn. And believe me, you will find yourself using it in normal, everyday fucking conversation after a little while here. And the next thing we're going to go on to is our pro words and phrases. These are incredibly important. Procedure words and phrases allow you to pass along large amounts of information without actually saying a lot of words. This helps us with something known as brevity. Brevity is incredibly important for us. Saying a lot of shit and quickly getting off of the radio. Because you have to keep in mind, especially at higher levels, there is anywhere from 4 to 8 people that may need to speak on that one radio frequency at a given time. So we need to get the information across quickly and then hurry up and get off. So, first pro word we're going to go over is break. Break simply means hereby indicate a separation of this text from the other portions of the message. Alright, so think of it as a period in a sentence. So if you're sending a long message, and there would normally be a period in that statement, then you would say break, let go of your transmit key, take a breath, hit your transmit key again, and then continue your message. Right. When you say break, again, let go of your fucking transmit key, take a breath, rekey, and continue speaking. Right? It defeats the fucking purpose if you say break and just continue sending your message. Next is if you say break 3 times in succession, as in break, break, break. Okay, that is a way to break communications on that radio frequency. That is used when there is emergency or priority traffic that needs to be sent on that radio frequency. Yes, there is a difference between priority and emergency traffic. Okay? An example of priority traffic would be that you have IDF coming in on your position and you need to make your hire aware of you moving to get out of that kill zone. An example of emergency traffic would be you have a T-72 that's about to run over top of your nutsack and you need to make everyone aware that there is a tank right on top of your position. So, a situation where that is used is if, we'll take emergency traffic for instance. You have a tank roll up on your position. If someone is in the middle of transmitting whatever message they're sending on a radio frequency, and you have emergency traffic come up that you need to send across, right in the middle of their sentence, you can key up on your radio and say break, 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 emergency traffic, and then they'll immediately stop talking, and you send your traffic. All right, you guys tracking?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
All right. Next, we have correction. All right, correction means an error has been made in this transmission. Transmission will continue with the last word correctly transmitted. All right, so if you're sending a message and you fuck up and say the wrong word or give the wrong grid, whatever, don't sit there and fumble fuck over your words and say, it's a waste of time. Just say correction, go back to where you were last correct, and continue on with your transmission. Next one is disregard. Disregard is just as it sounds. You disregard it. You pretend as if you never fucking heard it. Next one, read back. All right, read back can be used as a response as well as an order. So, for example, if I were giving you a grid coordinate, our current grid coordinate, 160168, if I told you to move to grid 160168, read back grid, then you would respond with, I read back 160168. Alright, very simple. Next one is say again. Say again means simply to say again everything that you just said. Now you can use it in conjunction with say again all before, if you didn't catch the first part of the transmission, or say again all after, if you didn't catch the last part of the transmission. But we use say again all the time. Now we use it in place of the word repeat. Repeat is not used to tell someone to say everything they just said. Repeat is used for fire missions and cast calls. It is telling them to repeat that fire mission, to do the same thing that they just did. So we as basic infantry do not use the word repeat. We say again. I can tell you now, throughout your time in the training pipeline here, you say repeat, I will immediately drop a mortar on your head. No questions asked. So I promise you, you will get out of the habit of saying it. The next one we're going to go over is over. Over means this is the end of my transmission to you, and a response is necessary. Go ahead and transmit. Okay, so if someone says over at the end of their transmission, that means they need you to respond. Go ahead and do so. It's not a question. It's not a debate. It's not a, hey, if you feel like it, go ahead and talk back to me. No. If they say over, you need to respond. Next, we have out. Out means this is the end of my transmission to you, and a response is not necessary or expected. Alright, so if they say out at the end of their transmission, it means they do not want you to respond. So you shouldn't. When they out a transmission, that conversation is now over. You do not, or I should say done. You do not need to talk to them. Right? So understand that there is a difference, a large difference, between the pro words of over and the pro word of out. Right? Over means they need a response. Out means they do not. Right? So for that reason, do not ever say over and out on the fucking radio. That is made up Hollywood bullshit. You look like a fucking idiot. No one says over and out. They mean two completely different things. Again, over means I need a response. Out means I do not. Now, the next one we're going to go into is Roger. Roger simply means I received your last transmission satisfactorily. Right? I heard you. That's it. It is not anything more, anything less. Just means I heard you. Now the next one that is kind of dovetailed to that is Wilco. Wilco means will comply. Right? It is a response to an order given. So if someone passes along basic information to you, right, they're not giving you an order, they're just passing you information. In that situation, you would say Roger. If they are giving you an order, telling you to move to a certain position, in that situation, you would say Wilco, will comply. You are responding to an order given. Okay, so Roger means something completely different from Wilco. So don't ever say Roger Wilco on the radio. Again, made up Hollywood bullshit. Granted, it's Hollywood bullshit from the 1950s and 60s, but still, don't fucking do it. They mean something completely different. Alright, now the last one we're going to go over is this is. This is means this transmission is from the station whose designation immediately follows. Now what that means by station. Alright, everyone has their own calling station. A calling station is essentially your position in that task force, platoon, squad, whatever it may be. Alright? It is not a call sign. We do not all have fucking call signs. It's a calling station. The call sign of the entire fucking infantry company is Havoc. Our calling stations are completely different. At a fire team level, your calling station is your name. Once you go to a fire team leader and above, you have your own designated calling station. So for Sergeant Myers here, Sergeant Myers, what is your calling station?
Havoc 2-1 First Sergeant.
Havoc 2-1. That is his calling station. He is the only Havoc 2-1 in the entire unit. So if someone says Havoc 2-1 on the radio, he is the only person they can be talking to. My calling station is Havoc 7. So if I say Havoc 7 on the radio, everybody knows it is me. So this is, followed by a calling station, lets everyone know exactly who that is. Alright, you guys tracking?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Alright. And where this is becomes very important is at the start of every radio transmission that you're going to do. Every radio transmission you do is going to consist of a phrase at the start. A phrase I want you to memorize. That phrase is, hey you, this is me. Right? Hey you, this is me. I want you to memorize that phrase. Sear it into your fucking brain. Because anytime you talk on the radio, you're going to be using it. So what that means is, hey you, this is me. Hey you is you calling another calling station. Alright, so if I was calling Sergeant Myers here, I would say, Havoc 2-1, this is Havoc 7. So now, no matter if we're in the middle of a firefight, whatever, with enough time and enough training, you can pick out vital information on your radios no matter what's going on around you. So when Sergeant Myers is in the middle of a firefight and he hears someone say Havoc 2-1 or simply 2-1 on the radio, he instantly knows that's somebody trying to talk to me. I need to pay attention. So when I say Havoc 2-1, this is Havoc 7, now he knows, okay, that's the first sergeant trying to talk to me on the radio. I need to pay attention. So, hey you, this is me. And then you wait. Right? We work on a call and response system. So I just called him. Havoc 2-1, this is Havoc 7. Over. And wait. Alright? So, and I said over at the end of my transmission. So he now knows I'm waiting for him to respond. So then he would respond back to me. Havoc 7, this is Havoc 2-1, send traffic. Over. And then wait for my traffic. And then I could go on with my transmission. Alright? Waiting on that response is way more important than what most people ever even fucking realize. Right? Because if I were to just say, Havoc 2-1, this is Havoc 7, be advised, such and such information. For all I fucking know, he didn't hear a single word I just said because he's knocked out. Or he's busy with something else. He's got another person talking to him in his other ear and was paying attention to what they were saying because they went about it the correct way. So you call someone on the radio, you need to make sure you get that response before you just start sending your information. So again, whenever you're sending a radio message, hey you, this is me. Now, this also works into one of the most important things we do, and that is radio checks. Radio checks are done every single time that you go into a server. You'll go in, get geared up, start doing your PCCs, your pre-combat checks, making sure that you have all your PPE, make sure you have your radios set up, you have good communication with every member of your team, so on and so forth. So, to get into your radio checks, firstly, once you get your radio set up, as soon as you get it set up, that's when you're going to do your radio check. If for some reason someone doesn't respond to you on your radio check, one of two things. Either A, you're on the wrong fucking radio frequency, or B, they haven't got their radio set up yet. So give it a few minutes and then try your radio check again. That being said, your radio check is going to be very simple, very quick, and it's something you're going to get a shit ton of practice with. So, a proper radio check. You would key up on your radio, say, any station this net, this is, whatever your name is, radio check, frequency 123, over. Right? So any station this net, we're going to break this down, any station this net. Right, so that means you are calling to any calling station on that radio frequency. Okay, because you don't know who is on that radio frequency yet. So you can't call to a specific person. So any station this net is blanket coverage of every calling station on that radio frequency. That means every single person on that radio frequency is free to respond to you. So any station this net, this is, and then your name or your calling station. Remember, at a fire team level, your calling station is your name. So this is, and then your name. So it lets them know who they're responding to. Radio check. Okay, radio check is the last pro word we're going to go over. Radio check is asking for the strength and readability of your transmission. Okay, so when you say radio check, they now know what you need in response. The radio check frequency 123. You tell them what frequency you're doing the radio check on. Because, again, we listen to multiple radio frequencies, a lot of us. So, you need to let them know what frequency you're doing that radio check on so they know which one to respond on. So, radio check frequency 123, over. Remember, you have to say over if you want a response. So you say over, and then you wait. And then someone will respond to you. They will respond by saying, this is so-and-so, read you Lima Charlie, frequency 123, over. Alright, so they would respond back to you if Sergeant Myers was doing a radio check, and he said, any station this net, this is Havoc 2-1, radio check, frequency 123, over. I would respond back, Havoc 2-1, this is Havoc 7, read you Lima Charlie on frequency 123, over. Alright, so saying Lima Charlie is phonetics for LC, loud and clear. Alright, additionally, you can just say loud and clear if you wanted to. Or you can use the numerical scale, which would be 1x5 to 5x5. Right? 5x5 meaning loud and clear, 1x5 meaning broken and unreadable. Then you have 2, 3, and 4 in the middle there. So again, respond, so-and-so, this is so-and-so, read you Lima Charlie, frequency 123, over. Now they respond with over because they are not the initiating calling station. That's important. If you are not the one that initiated the radio call, you do not end it. Essentially, you are not the one that says out. If they're the one that started the call with you, for all you know, they have more information that needs to be sent after that first message. So, if you're the receiving station, you continue saying over at the end of your transmission until the initiating station says out. Okay, think of it like a phone call. They're the ones that hang up first because they started the phone call. Alright? So, it would respond, Lima Charlie, frequency 123, over, and then you would respond back, solid copy, out. Right? That simple. Solid copy, that way they know that you heard them, and then out. You're ending the transmission. Okay, so again, to go through the entire thing, if myself and Sergeant Myers were doing a radio check, if Sergeant Myers started off and said, this is Havoc 2, or sorry, any station in this net, this is Havoc 2-1, radio check, frequency 123, over, I would respond, Havoc 2-1, this is Havoc 7, read you Lima Charlie, 123, over. He would respond back, Havoc 7, this is Havoc 2-1, solid copy, out. That's it. Alright, you guys tracking on that?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Alright, you better be, because you're about to do it. So, when it comes to your radio, to speak on your primary net, okay, that would be channel 1. By default, the control is to hold down your caps lock key. Do not start hitting your fucking caps lock key now. So by default, you hold down your caps lock key. Now when you're going to transmit on the radio, you need to hit your transmit key, hold it down for a hot second, and then begin speaking. Do not just immediately start sending your message once you hit that key. Alright, give it a second to make sure it has that radio frequency opened up. Start sending your message, and then when you're done, stop speaking, keep the key held down for a half second or so, and then let go of it. Alright, otherwise there's a good chance that you're gonna fucking cut off the end of your transmission, which is annoying as shit. So again, make sure you hold down your transmit key for a hot second before you start transmitting, and keep it held down for a hot second once you're done transmitting. Now to speak on your additional net, by default is going to be Tango or T. Same rules apply. Keep the button held down before you actually transmit and after you finish transmitting for a quick second. That being said, anytime you are transitioning from speaking on your primary net to your additional net or vice versa, so if you're switching from using caps lock to talk on the radio to Tango, you have to give it a couple seconds in between pressing the other key. So if you're holding down caps lock and then you need to go hit Tango to talk on your additional net, you have to give it a few seconds. Otherwise, there's a good possibility you're going to transmit either on your primary net instead or on both radio frequencies at the same time, which can be incredibly annoying. So make damn sure anytime you are switching from caps lock to Tango or vice versa, you wait a couple seconds before you hit the other key. Is that understood?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Alright, so what you guys are going to do now, again, you're going to do a radio check on your primary channel, alright, so via caps lock. So Selby, you're going to go first, you're going to do your radio check, Muller's going to respond. Then Muller, you're going to do your radio check, and Selby's going to respond, alright? Selby, go ahead and get going.
Any stations this net, this is Selby. Radio check on frequency 100.1. Over.
Private Selby, this is Private Moeller. I read you Lima Charlie on frequency 100.1. Over.
Solid copy. Hop.
There you go. That was perfect. Now, again, at a higher level, we don't use our names because we have our calling stations, right? So, also, at a higher level is when it becomes incredibly important to have that more formal back and forth, as in saying back who it is speaking every single time that you key up the radio. Okay, so at a fire team level, it really doesn't matter to say, you know, Selby, this is Moeller, read you Lima Charlie, but be in the habit of that. And the same thing, Selby, when you respond to him, be in the habit of saying, you know, Moeller, this is Selby, solid copy, out. It's not, again, it's not important at a fire team level, but get in the fucking habit of it now. That way, as you move up throughout your time here, when you do get to that point where someone's going to fucking bust your balls for not using it, you're already in the habit of saying it. Alright? Muller, go ahead and do your radio check.
Any station, this net. This is Private Moeller. Radio check on frequency 100.1, over.
Private Muller, this is Private Selby. Read you, Lima Charlie. Over.
You almost had it. Stand by.
Private Muller, this is Private Selby. Read you, Lima Charlie on frequency 100.1. Over.
Private Selby, this is Private Moeller. Solid copy, out.
There you go. Recognize your own fuck up. Good job. Alright, any questions on radio checks?
Negative.
No, First Sergeant.
Alright, outstanding. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over a little bit more lecture stuff before we actually head out to the range and do some weapons familiarization. Alright, so we're going to do the lecture portion of it first, get you guys somewhat familiarized with some of the different weapon systems that we use here, and then we're going to head out to the range and actually get you some time on these weapon systems. So, first thing we're going to be going over is the M4 carbine, standard issue rifle for the Army. Everyone here carries one with exception to automatic riflemen, 11 Bravo machine gunners, and some of the pilots. So, the M4 is a lightweight gas-operated, air-cooled, magazine-fed shoulder-fire weapon that can be fired in either the semi-automatic or fully automatic mode. It has a point target range of 500 meters and an area target range of 600 meters. Either one of you have a guess as to the difference between a point target and an area target.
Point target is accurate fire. Area target is suppressive fire.
There you go, exactly. Now, where that becomes important is the optic that you guys use on your M4. The optic you use is the same one that you can see pretty much on my rifle. It is an RCO, a rifle combat optic, or also called a ranging combat optic. The M150 has a very distinctive sight picture, which unfortunately I don't have a fucking picture of anymore up here on the board. But when you look through the sight picture of an RCO, you will see a chevron at the top, or a spear point. You will then have a vertical line coming down from that spear point, so it kind of looks like an arrow. You will then have horizontal hash marks with numbers next to them, moving down that vertical axis. Now that chevron, or that entire sight picture, is pre-sighted for that rifle, specifically for that round, for the 5.56. So when looking at that sight picture, the tip of that chevron, or the point of the spear, is ranged at 100 meters. Middle of that chevron is ranged at 200 meters, and the base of the chevron is ranged at 300 meters. Then the first horizontal line you have has a 4 next to it. Guess what? That 4 stands for 400 meters. And then each horizontal line moving down from there. Now each one of those horizontal lines, as well as the space in between the legs of that chevron, are incredibly important. Because at that given range, that space, or that horizontal line, represents 19 inches. Any guess as to why the length of 19 inches is important to us?
The width of the average human chest.
Shoulder to shoulder, average male is 19 inches wide. So, at that given distance, say that 400 meter horizontal line, you put that horizontal line over top of a man that's a military age male, anyone from 15 to 50, you put that line over their body and it touches from shoulder to shoulder, you now know they're at 400 meters. Alright? Now it's obviously not going to be exact, but it gives you a rough idea. So you don't have to pull out your vectors and get a range every goddamn time you want to engage someone. You can use the optic on your rifle to range them, engage, as well as pass that information to higher so they have an idea of where they're at. Alright, you guys tracking?
Affirm.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Excellent. Now, Next weapon system we're going to be going over is the M320 grenade launcher. Now the M320 is a lightweight breech-loading 40mm grenade launcher that can be used in either the standalone or attached variant. We only use the attached one, really. That's a UGL, underslung grenade launcher, or under-barrel grenade launcher. Depends on who you ask. Now, the 320 is capable of accurately engaging targets out to 350 meters. That's as far as it ranges, is 350 meters. Yes, it is capable of chucking a 40mm beyond 350 meters, but at that point you have to use Kentucky windage. Right? It only ranges as far as 350 meters. Now we also use the older brother to the 320, which is the 203, which is what you see on my weapon system. The 203 only ranges to 250 meters. Now in actuality, they're quite different weapon systems. They use a different round. The 320 uses the same 40mm grenade that's used in the Mark 19. It's a little bit longer. 203 does not use the same grenade. That being said, the 320 is what you guys are going to use in training. Now both the 320 and the 203 are capable of firing multiple different munitions types. Firstly, we have HE, or high explosive, which is very good for infantry. Next we have HEDP, high explosive dual purpose, which is very good for bunkers, towers, vehicles. HEDP is great for taking out tires on lightly armored vehicles. Next, we have smoke. Now the 40mm smokes can be pretty finicky at times. You'll try and chuck one out there 200 meters and it'll bounce another 200 meters beyond where you fucking fire it. So it takes quite a bit of practice to get good with launching 40mm smokes. Next, we have illumination rounds. Now you may think illumination rounds are kind of fucking pointless considering we all have night vision goggles. I can tell you this from experience. When the fog is super fucking thick, NVGs don't do dick all. Illumination is your best friend. Lastly, there's Hunt IR rounds. Hunt IR rounds are essentially a small camera in the head of that grenade and then a parachute that comes out of the back. So what'll happen is you'll chuck a Hunt IR round out there. Once it gets to height and begins to nose down and fall, that parachute will deploy. And then someone with a tablet or other means can connect to the camera in that 40mm grenade and get a look at the area. Right? Now, you guys don't necessarily need to worry about that because Hunt IR rounds are only carried by platoon HQ levels and above. But the reason we go over that is if you are in operation and you see a little fucking parachute floating down from the sky, do not freak out. Alright? It's not the fucking aliens invading. It is not enemy paratroopers. It's a goddamn camera. Don't shoot at it. Alright? Everybody tracking on that?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Alright. Next weapon system we're going to cover is the M249 Squad Automatic Weapon, or SAW. SAW is a gas-operated, air-cooled, belt or magazine-fed automatic weapon system that fires from the open bolt position, has a maximum rate of fire of 850 rounds per minute. Yes, I did say magazine or belt fed. Now, our 249s are always going to have a belt or a bandolier in them, but you can put an M4 magazine in a 249 in an emergency. Another thing to keep in mind there is that the 249 for us has no select fire capability. It's fully automatic and fully automatic only. So that 30 round M4 magazine is not going to last very long. So again, that is only used in extreme emergencies. Now the 249 has a maximum area target range of 1200 meters. Notice I did not say a point target range. The SAW does not fire in a point target relation. Essentially, It does not mean you can't engage a single individual target, but you're not firing a single accurate round. You fire the saw in bursts. All right. So if you're engaging a target with an M4, you fire a single round and accurately engage. When you're engaging with the saw, you fire a burst of generally 3 to 5 rounds based upon distance and rake that burst across their body. So you're engaging the entire area of that target, not a point target. All right, and again, the maximum area range of the 249 is 1,200 meters. Now, generally, when you're engaging with the saw, especially at closer distances, you're going to start your burst at their knees and then hit them with 3 to 5 rounds. All right. Either one of you have a guess why you start at their knees and not their chest?
Recoil.
Exactly. Yep, you let it crawl up their body. All right, so by the time you get done with that burst, it should be center mass. So you hit them at their knees and let it climb right up their body. All right, next weapon system we're going to cover. The M240 Bravo medium machine gun. The M240 Bravo is a belt-fed, air-cooled, gas-operated, fully automatic machine gun that fires from the open bolt position. Unlike the 249, which is chambered in the 5.56 NATO round, the M240 Bravo is chambered in the 7.62 millimeter NATO round. So this is the bigger, badder, meaner brother to the saw, all right? Affectionately referred to by many of us as the big black dick of freedom, because it will reach out there and fucking touch somebody. This thing has a maximum area target range of 1,800 meters, and it will reach it. Now the 240 Bravo is carried by 11 Bravo machine gunners. Right, do not confuse it with the 249 saw, which is carried by 11 Bravos. All right, a saw gunner is simply an 11 Bravo who happens to carry the M249 saw. An 11 Bravo machine gunner carries the 240 Bravo. Muller, question.
Yes, First Sergeant. What was the max area target range on the M240 Bravo?
1,800 meters.
Thank you, First Sergeant.
Alright, the next weapon system we're going to cover. The M136 AT4. The AT4 is a lightweight, self-contained SLM designed for the use against improved and light armor vehicles. Alright, so basically up-armored trucks, as well as light armor, APCs, things along those lines. Now it has a maximum effective range of 300 meters. Much like the 320, you can fire an AT4 beyond 300 meters. However, it's not going to be as effective. So hitting, say, a BTR, for example, at 500 meters is possible, yes, but it's not going to be as effective as hitting it at 200 meters. Now, the AT4 is carried by all riflemen in the unit. Well, when I say all, it actually means half. Half of our riflemen carry AT4s, the other half carry the little brother to the AT4, which is the M72 Law. Now, the Law is used for what we consider soft targets, troop transports, gun trucks, stuff along those lines. AT4s are used for light armor. And again, those are carried by riflemen. Now, stepping up from the AT4, we then have the M3 Carl Gustav, or the Maus. Now, the Maus is carried by 11 Bravo anti-armor gunners. It is an 84 millimeter recoilless rifle. Right? It is essentially the bigger brother to the AT4, in the sense that the AT4 is a smaller round and it is not reloadable. Right? The AT4, as well as the Law, both of them are disposable weapon systems. You launch the rocket and then drop the tube on the ground and be on about your way. Right? You cannot reload them, you cannot reuse them. They come preloaded with a rocket in them. The Maus can be reloaded and fires in real world fires multiple different or multiple different munition types. We only use heat, high explosive anti-tank rounds. In real world, they use all kinds of good fun stuff, including air burst and HE and things like that. But for us, we only use the heat. Now, the M3 is capable of engaging targets up to and including 1,200 meters. Okay, so where the AT4 can effectively hit a target at 300 meters, the Maws can hit a target at 4 times that distance. So it is a hell of a lot more powerful than what the AT4 is. Hence why our anti-armor teams carry them. Next, Selby, question.
What is the distance, the effective range of the M72 Law?
M72 Law is going to be the same as the AT4 at 300 meters.
Thank you.
But again, keep in mind, the Law is used for lighter targets. So it has the same effective distance, but not on the same targets. Now the next one we're going to cover is the FGM-148 Javelin missile system. The FGM-148 consists of the command launch unit, or the CLU, the tube, and the missile itself. Right, those three things together make up the FGM-148 Javelin missile system. Alright, that's why it's a missile system, because there are 3 parts to it. The Javelin missile itself is part of the system. Now, in real world as well as somewhat in ARMA, the CLU, command launch unit, or the CLU, is carried separately from the tube itself. In ARMA, that's somewhat depicted in the sense that when you see a javelin on somebody's back, you're not going to see the CLU on it. Once they pull it out, the CLU fucking magically appears. But in real world, that CLU is used all the time for spotting targets and shit like that, separate from the tube itself. Once it comes time to actually put that weapon system to work, they'll attach it to the tube, put the missile in, and get ready to rock and roll. Now, the Javelin is incredibly distinctive. A, is a very distinctive fucking sound when fired. B, is the only weapon system we use that uses a top-down attack. What that means is, when you lock onto a target with the Javelin missile system, and you fire the missile, the initial engine will carry the missile out of the tube a few feet out in front of you. Once it does that, the primary engine will fire, and it will take off almost at a straight up angle up into the air. And it will track to its target. Once it gets to its target, it will nose down and come down directly on top of it. Because in armor, most inherent weak spot is the top plate, the very top of the vehicle. So that's where the Javelin hits it. Now the Javelin is capable of engaging targets up to and including 2,000 meters away. So it can be 2 clicks out there and that Javelin can still easily lock on and kill it. Now the Javelin is the hardest hitting anti-armor weapon that we have. Pretty much anything out there, we can hit it with the Jav and kill it. However, the downside being, Javelin missiles are very fucking big, and we can only carry a very limited amount of them in the field. So if we're using a Javelin on something, it's because it's a large threat. And this is also carried by our 11 Bravo anti-armor teams. Alright? Now, any questions on any of the weapon systems we have covered so far?
Negative.
No, First Sergeant.
Alright, the next thing we're going to go over is our thrown munitions. First one we're going to be covering is the M67 fragmentation grenade. Now the M67 consists of a pre-fragmented steel body filled with 6.5 ounces of explosives. It has a 3.2 to 4.2 second fuse with a kill radius of 15 meters and a fragmentation dispersal radius of 230 meters. So make damn sure when you throw one of these you are well behind cover. Now, you can throw one of these generally 20 to 30 meters. The main thing to keep in mind here is that fuse. 3.2 to 4.2 second fuse. Now with the ACE advanced throw system, which is something you guys are going to be going over here shortly, you can do what's called cooking a grenade. Right, if you don't know what cooking a grenade is, aside from playing fucking Call of Duty, the actual act of cooking a grenade means when you pull that pin, you let go of the spoon. A spoon is that little handle looking thing that comes off of the top of the grenade. That spoon is what is stopping that fuse from burning. So when you release that spoon, the fuse starts burning. You now have 3 to 4 seconds to get that thing out of your hand before it turns you into fucking jello. Cooking a live fragmentation grenade is one of the most terrifying things you can ever fucking do. And I can tell you now that no one really wants to cook a grenade. You want to pull that pin, let go of the spoon, and throw that fucking thing as quickly as you possibly can. But there may come times where you do need to cook it. When you do, better hope that you can count correctly. Alright? So, you're cooking a grenade. Even in the ACE system. Cooking a grenade, 1, 2, throw that motherfucker. As hard and as fast as you possibly can. Next, we have our M84 flashbang, or the stun grenade, as it's labeled in the arsenal. Now, the M84 is a diversionary device. With a fuse of 1 to 2 seconds, upon detonation, it will emit a blinding flash and a deafening bang, hence flashbang. Now, these are incredibly useful in enclosed spaces. They do still work somewhat in open areas, but they work a hell of a lot better in enclosed spaces. That being said, the downside to flashbangs in Arma is that if the enemy AI does not have the flashbang in their cone of vision when it detonates, it will not have any effect on them. So for some reason, you throw a flashbang into a room, and the fucking AI that's in there happens to be looking into the corner of the room instead of into the center of the room, that flashbang won't do dick all to them. Now, that doesn't mean just don't use your flashbangs because sometimes they won't work. Because sometimes they do fucking work, and they work beautifully. And you'll be able to breach that room, and he'll be sitting there all fumble fucked, and you shoot him in the goddamn face. But keep in mind, just because you throw a flashbang into a room does not mean you're fucking safe to just lollygag your way in there. Alright, next, we have our M18 smoke grenades. The M18s use different colored smoke for 2 different things. Concealment as well as signaling. Now the white and yellow smoke is used for concealment. So if you see white smoke or if you see yellow smoke, that means it's being used for concealment. Now the majority of the time we try to use yellow smoke, but both are perfectly fine to use. And when it comes to the signaling colors, green smoke is used to signal a friendly position. Red smoke is used to signal an enemy position. Do not ever pop red smoke on a friendly position. If you do, by accident, make goddamn sure you radio it up your chain of command immediately. Alright? Because any of us see red smoke, that's a signal that we need to kill whatever is over there. Now, generally, guys are going to be able to PID and see that that red smoke is on friendlies, but we never want to take that chance. Alright, so, if you accidentally throw red smoke, again, make sure you radio it up right away. Next, we have orange smoke. Orange smoke is used by team leaders to mark the position of demolitions. Alright, so when a team leader puts down an M112 demolition block, he's going to put an orange smoke on that position as well. Now, it is also used by Air Force enlisted personnel to mark LZs sometimes. Alright, LZs being landing zones. So, if a JTAC pops orange smoke out in the middle of an open field, don't go near it. Alright? So essentially what that all boils down to is if you see orange smoke, stay the fuck away from it. Because either A, it's going to explode, or B, there's going to be a helicopter landing on it. So stay away from orange smoke. Next we have blue smoke. Blue smoke is used to mark a broken chain of command. So if shit has gone completely awry, someone will pop blue smoke on an area and let higher command elements know we need help over here. Next is purple smoke. Purple smoke is used to mark an MCI, or a mass casualty incident, or simply a mass cas. Purple smoke is only carried by 68 Whiskey Combat medics. They are the ones who decide whether or not it is a mass cas. We as infantry do not. We do not have the training. We do not know what they are capable of handling by themselves. That is up to the medic to decide. If he decides that there are more casualties than he can deal with by himself, then he will pop purple smoke. And at that point, every medical personnel in the area that can will come to his aid. If you see purple smoke, stay the fuck away from it, unless you are told to go there and set up security. If you are told to set up security around an MCI, stay the hell out of the medic's way and just provide security, unless they ask for your aid. Alright? Any questions on any of the smoke colors?
No, First Sergeant.
Alright. Alright, any questions on anything we have covered so far before we head out of the classroom here?
I have a question regarding mass cas incidents. Is it true in our ARMA A system that if you bump a medic, it will cancel whatever they're doing and waste supplies?
It is a good possibility, which is why you should stay the fuck away from them.
Copy.
Alright, what we're going to do now is head out to the range and get you guys some time on the different weapon systems that we've talked about here. Sergeant Myers is going to be taking you guys out there, and he's going to be taking over for a few minutes. Alright, so Sergeant Myers, go ahead and lead him out to the range.
Yes, First Sergeant. Alright, with me.
Yeah, Vertigo, you've been there in the fucking... You've been around the grenade pits. It's like, yeah, I ain't cooking shit. Like, alright, count to 2. 1, throw.
Copy.
Well, Lilo, as long as they retain the fucking information, that's the important part. And also, Tosco, thank you for the 5 spot there, brother. I'll make sure I'll get you down on the raffle when we're done here. Helps if I go to the right range. Glad you said him. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And MW7, thank you for the follow. guess I can run over here and load the static range real quick.
I will PT you all until you fucking die!
And Fabian, thank you for the follow. Damn, Myers, what's taking you so long? Of course he would go to the regular demonstration range, not come over here to the fucking grenade range. I know there isn't really any difference between the two of them. Doesn't surprise me any. I don't know how they manage to fuck up their loadouts, but they do.
On the numbers on the top of your keyboard, you can hit 6 or 7. Always hit 7. If you're on base in a safe area and you're not planning on throwing a fragmentation grenade, hit 7. That means that if for whatever reason you do accidentally throw a grenade, it's going to be a smoke. It's not going to be a flash or a stun. That's the biggest thing I do. So 7 will cycle through your non-lethals, 6 will cycle through your flashes and your explosives.
Hey, Cope with the 4-month resub.
Thing that I do.
Thank you very much, brother.
If you guys all hit escape.
God, it's been 4 months already?
Go to controls. Go ahead and go to the weapons tab and scroll down. You'll see that the throw bind, it's about halfway down there, is bound to golf. Just golf. Personally, I have rebound mine to double tap golf. So if you want, I'd recommend it rebind it to double tap G. Just means that for whatever reason, if you accidentally do throw a hit G, you're not going to throw a grenade. You'll have the double.
Now I just need to get him to accept that that final emote that I have for the $25 tier. The emote for it is badass.
Is completely unbinding it fine too?
Yeah, you can, if you're not planning on using the normal armor throwing system, that's fine. You can rebind it.
Copy.
And 2 months in the unit? Oh, you should be hitting PFC here real quick then. Pretty sure it's 60 days TIG for PFC.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That makes sense.
The bindings. So you guys look down range now and you hit Shift Kilo on your keyboards, Shift K. You'll see in the top left hand corner there a little dial will appear. What that dial represents is your windage. So looking down range to the northwest now we have...
Yeah, there you go, 60 days TIG, 21 points.
The white dots there show you how strong it is, so 1 dot will be not at all, 2 will be moderate, and then, you know, so on. We have a breeze going from south to northish, I'd say.
Shit, yeah, it goes by fast. I've been here like 2.5 fucking years.
Smoke grenade. If I go ahead and pop a yellow smoke out there, give it a couple seconds because it is behind cover. It will slowly drift over to the right. This is really fucking useful.
Fucking
so if
pisses
you
me
guys
off
are
that
ever
Arma broke our
throwing
damn
grenades,
smoke
consider
grenades.
yourself, maybe if you're in an open field, check the windage because you want to know which way that smoke is going to plume. So, you know, if you've got contact over to the north there, you may want to throw the grenade slightly northwestern so that it blows over to the north and it gives you much more cover and it plumes over in that direction. In terms of fragmentation grenades, stun grenades, wind doesn't fucking matter at all. They're heavy enough to not be affected by them. Okay. So, what I get to you guys over now is the steps of throwing a fragmentation grenade. So, you hit 6 on your keyboard, you can cycle through your flash and your stuns. Like I said, don't throw anything right now, I'm just going to go through the steps. You'd identify where you want it to go. If it's either going to go, you know, into a position, into a tree line, into a building, you need to identify it. You would then hit shift and golf, and
with the Lilo, with the Laws of War update, they basically reduced the amount of particles that you can have, and it's just a visual thing. Like the enemy is still affected by the amount of particles of our smoke grenades. It's just not visible. So it looks less. It looks like it doesn't plume as much smoke out as what it actually does, because again, it still affects the AI, but it just looks like shit. But basically, our smoke grenades have been modified to have more particles in them, so it plumes out more realistically. But now they just look like poop.
The reason you yell frag out is basically what you're saying is I'm throwing a fragmentation grenade outbound. It's going out away from us. For whatever reason, you hear someone say frag in, tends to mean that fragmentation grenade is being thrown at you. So get out of dodge. The same with smokes, the same with flashbangs. You would normally yell smoke out, and you would definitely yell flash out. It's common courtesy because you don't want to flashbang your teammate who's right behind you, has no fucking clue what's going on.
See that it went up. We're gonna end up putting a raffle in with it, but I just increased the goal there just to have a goal up there. Like everything for the raffle is already paid for on my end, and same with LaRue's. I just put it up there to have a goal up there so I can still pay my bills.
Go into you or hit people around you. Always want to make sure you're behind some solid cover. If you throw a fragmentation grenade,
because the raffle is, even though everything's paid for, the raffle is still going until December.
It just didn't work. If you drop it at your feet, you want to yell bad frag, bad frag, bad frag. You want to yell it loud. You want to make sure everyone around you knows that you've fucked up. When you do yell a bad frag, turn around, run 3 or 4 paces and hit the deck. Definitely don't keep running because the fragmentation will hit you in the back and it'll really fuck you up.
I think LaRue is ahead right now, but again, that's the raffle is still going, so the winner won't be decided until we draw the winner for the raffle. So it won't be until the 20th of December that winner is chosen on that.
Yeah, and also if you ever hear someone yelling bad frag, just run away from them. Run 3-4 paces away from them, get prone. That's pretty much it from that. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get you guys to come up individually. You're gonna throw a frag grenade out there onto the range.
I'm gonna get myself behind cover here.
All the steps I've shown you. Stand by.
Got this for sure. Yeah, hopefully we do. I think we will.
Throw a fragmentation grenade out there.
Frag out.
Alright guys, I will be right back. I am going to refresh my coffee real quick.
Alright, fantastic. So both make sure you hit 7 on your keyboards. You're now holding a smoke grenade, you're not going to actually throw one again. That's what's going on. You know, if you don't yell frag out and you're throwing it into a tree line, you may have a buddy next to you fucking run into that tree line running towards a grenade. Not great. Again with the bad frag situation, if you hear bad frag, run away from it, get down, get behind solid cover. If you throw a bad frag, fucking yell it. Just yell bad frag. Even if you don't think anyone's around you, you don't think it's going to affect anyone, you still need to yell it. If you accidentally throw a fragmentation grenade.
And the sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
With bad frag, just yell it a bunch of times, cause who knows.
Yeah. Yep. Yell it a few times. I'd admit to it. If someone says we've had a bad frag and you don't say shit, and people know you're a bad frag, you're just gonna get like people are gonna be more pissed off. Just admit to it. If you say yeah, that was me, my bad. Everyone's gonna be fine with it. I mean, no one's not gonna be fine with it, but no one's gonna be as pissed if you just sitting there like, oh no one will know it's me.
Gotcha.
When you're on base, be really fucking careful with them. Like I said, I rebound all my keys so I can't accidentally throw a smoke grenade. Or a fragmentation grenade even. I select smokes whenever I'm on base. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
No, Sergeant.
Alright,
Negative.
let's go ahead and we're gonna head over to the AT4 range.
Alright, we are back.
Have a lot of fucking potential. They do an incredible amount of stuff if you know how to use them right. For this case, all we're going to be doing is ranging with it, but you guys can get a lot of information from your vectors, and if you guys ever go into a weapons squad, you'll find out. They teach you everything, it's great. Alright, so going over the, or going back to the AT4, if you identify a piece of armor to take out with the AT4, you'll take it out. You will prep it by hitting Romeo, which will basically prep it to fire. You'll then use your right click to aim down sight, identify your target. You can zoom in a little bit more. If you have buttons on the side of your mouse, you can zoom in a little bit more. If not, I think you can use page up. Oh no, sorry, page up, page down ranges it. So hitting page up will range it up, and hitting page down will range it down. That's why it's important to have someone next to you with a pair of vectors to tell you the range, so you know where to range it as. I think holding right click will zoom in a little bit. You guys will see in a second once we get them out. The reticle for the AT4 is like a pinprick. It's a bit of a bitch. But for the use for the situation.
Yes,
in,
adulting fucking sucks.
I would hope that you guys can see the target pretty clearly, and you wouldn't be, trying to thread the needle a couple, more than 300 meters out. If it's within 300 meters, you should be able to see it through the reticle. Like I said, page up, page down will range it up and down. It goes in increments of 50 meters, I believe, all the way up to 300 or 250. So I'm gonna put you guys together. I'll have Private Muller be shooting first, and Private Selby, you'll be ranging for him. So I'll go through the whole steps again. So get it on your shoulder, hit R, readies it, page up, page down. We'll range it to the correct range. So if your target's 250 meters out, you'll range it 250. You'll then, the most important thing.
Any snow up here yet? No, shit, no, bro. We won't have snow until fucking probably towards the end of November. Like, we've been getting snow later and later each year.
You're going to identify so I see it.
But it tends to last a little bit longer, except for like last year. Last year we didn't have shit for snow.
What that means is anything behind you in a vicinity. So from where I'm standing here, pretty much all the way back there, all the way around here, this massive arc. Anything in this vicinity is blocking your backblast. The only thing that should be behind you is open space. If anyone is around you, they either need to get up next to you, and just far to the side, like around here, they need to be online with you. Basically, because the 84 back.
Yeah, exactly. So we fucking
big, and anything back there,
like the last couple years, dude, like Christmas Day, the last couple years, it'll be like 50, 60 degrees. It's fucking weird.
Can knock people out. So you want to make sure absolutely nothing is behind you.
But then, what was it, like 3 years ago? Maybe 4? When I was still plowing, we had that fucking polar vortex shit that started hitting us in like January. And it'd be like 30, 40 below with wind chill.
Yeah, if you're on a steep mountain, a steep ridge line, you want to make sure that you're at least turned up at an angle, so...
Yeah, it's like fucking 60, 70 degrees every day right now. A little chillier in the morning, but... Yeah, it'll be fucking pushing December before we actually have snow on the ground, and even then, probably midway through December, it'll all end up melting a couple times.
So yeah, you would say the statement, clear backblast, Private Selby, you would then check behind him. It is not your job, as the guy with the 84, to check. It is whoever's ranging for you, unless you're on your own, then you obviously, the only person who...
Fucking hot in Australia? Well, yeah, it's fucking Australia, it's always hot.
One or two statements. First being, backblast clear. Backblast clear means nothing's behind you, proceed. The next statement is backblast not clear. Basically means someone's standing behind you, there's something in the way. Normally, 9 times out of 10, it is some guy not really known.
Yeah, that's something I was explaining to one of the guys in the UK, I can't remember who it was, but I was explaining to him like how we get the extremes of every weather type here in Michigan. Like, we get major flooding in the spring, summer we hit triple digits, no fucking problem. And then winter, we'll get feet of snowfall. Like, it's the fucking... We hammered, man.
Hopefully you've cleared out whatever obstruction is there, then you would go backblast clear. You're then free to proceed to the next step, which would be firing the 84. Just before firing the 84, the last thing you do is you will yell rocket, rocket, or rocket, rocket, rocket. What that does is let everyone in the area know that rocket's about to go off. So weapon squads do this for the Mars and the Javelin. We also do this for the Law and the 84. Lets everyone around us know that a rocket is about to be fired. Once you yell rocket, 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 you can then fire. Any questions?
No, sorry.
With the backblast clear, the second confirmation of clear backblast, that is only used for the backblast not clear, correct?
Yeah, affirm. If the first request comes back as it's clear, you don't need to ask again.
Copy.
But if it comes back as not clear, then you need to keep asking until you get the clear.
Yeah, cool. Well, Idaho is weird for different reasons, but yeah, we mostly get all the fucked up stuff because of the lakes.
Rolling up onto you, it's about to eliminate your entire squad and cause a lot of fucking wreck and mayhem. And people are in your backblast, and it's crunch time.
Well, Florida fucking sucks anyways.
You can always get him back up
rains like every goddamn day.
You don't
You know,
have any
hurricanes and all that
time
bullshit to deal with.
hook or to get someone out of there, just fire.
Yeah,
They
fried
can't
taters.
tires
Mm-hmm.
more important than the safety of one idiot who couldn't get out of the way in time. Alright, so, you guys can go ahead and pick any target you want. You can use, you know, the vehicle over there. You can use the bunkers. I'd recommend using the Vix for now and the bunkers just because we can see a little bit easier if you actually went on target, but you go ahead and feel free to pick out a target, range it, go through the motions. And
Go
just
ahead, Selby.
Just before we go, always make sure you have your earplugs in. So Ace Interact, go to equipment, go ahead and throw your earplugs on.
Go ahead and pick out a target for me, Selby.
Can't find a target, I will give you a target.
Alright, so you want to take the gas at 091?
Copy. Range?
Range is 141.
Copy. Clear backblast?
Black pass is clear.
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
Pretty much all there is to it. You guys go ahead and swap. Selby, you can. Private Muller, you range. Selby, you shoot.
Target at 130, 1 times gas. Range 298.
Yeah, at least they hit the target.
You have eyes on?
Eyes on. Back glass clear.
Backblast is clear.
Rocket, rocket, rocket.
Hey!
Video pick out it is clear black. Clear it out first. So yeah, there you go, guys.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
It's you want to say clear backblast, not backblast clear. Backblast clear would mean that no one's there. You're asking a question.
Copy.
Both of you, one thing I need to pick up is what is on your back right now.
Our AT4, empty.
And what use is an empty AT for?
0.
Exactly, that thing is dead fucking weight. Like First Sergeant's told you, once it's fired, that's it, it's done. You can't reload it, there's no use bringing it back to base with you. Another big thing is if someone who's not in your squad sees you, and there's a piece of armor rolling, and say, hey, you've got an AT4, come with me, and they try to grab you to take out a piece of armor, and that AT4 is actually empty, they're gonna be really fucking pissed off when you end up saying, shit, I fired it like 10 minutes ago, and it's empty. Drop it, because if people see it on your back, everyone's assuming that it's ready to go. The big thing is once you guys have fired one, you want to make sure notify your squad leader. So say, hey, Alpha's rifleman has fired his AT4. Alpha is black on AT, black meaning we don't have any more. Let your squad leader keep tallies on how much AT the squad's got left as a whole, and then whether to call for a resupply or to let the platoon know that hey, my squad has no more AT left. So if a piece of AT does roll up on us, we're pretty fucked. You guys understand?
Yeah, I'm
firm.
command tonight.
Alright. Any questions?
Negative, Sergeant.
No,
Alright,
Sergeant.
I'm gonna hand you guys back off to First Sergeant.
Alright, gentlemen, follow me. Hey, too tall. Alright, gentlemen. What we're going to go over now is different rates of fire that we use for our rifles. Now, first one we're going to go over is the M4. As we went over earlier, the M4 does have select fire capability. It is semi-automatic or fully automatic. First rate of fire we're going to be going over is the sustained rate of fire. Now, sustained rate of fire is usually used for targets beyond 250 meters. A sustained rate of fire will consist of a single round every 2 to 3 seconds. Alright, so to give you an example, a sustained rate of fire would sound like this. So that is what you would use to accurately engage a target beyond 250 meters. Now, moving up from that would be a rapid rate of fire. A rapid rate of fire being 2 rounds every 2 to 3 seconds. Now, this is where something like a double tap comes into play. Alright, so 2 to the chest. So, this is used for targets inside of 250 meters. So, a rapid rate of fire would sound something like this. And moving up from that would be a cyclic rate of fire. Now, cyclic does not mean that you're just holding down the fucking trigger, letting her eat. Alright? Cyclic rate of fire for the M4 would be to fire in a burst of 3 to 5 rounds. Now, this is used for what is considered danger close. Alright? Anything 50 meters or closer, that's fucking danger close. Alright, so in that situation, you're going to flip the fun switch and go to a cyclic rate of fire, meaning a 3 to 5 round burst every 2 to 3 seconds. So a cyclic rate of fire would sound something like this. If my guy will cooperate. Alright. Alright, so that is a cyclic rate of fire for the M4. Now, the reason this is important, and it'll make even more sense after we go over the next one, but controlling your rate of fire will help you, A, not only accurately engage the target, but B, conserve your ammunition. Alright, ammo conservation is a huge thing to keep in mind. Alright, you should always in the back of your mind be thinking, alright, how much ammo do I have left? How many mags have I went through so far? How many do I still have in my pack or in my vest? Because when we go out into the field, what you're carrying with you is what you got. Right? There is no guarantee that we're going to get a resupply. We could be going into an AO that is way too fucking hot to bring a bird into to get us more supplies. So when we go out there with 12 magazines, that's what you got, is 12 magazines. Granted, your buddies may be able to help you out with a mag here or there, but you've got to keep those rates of fire under control so that you don't go burning through 5-6 magazines in your first engagement that's only a couple minutes long. Alright, you guys tracking?
Affirm, Sergeant.
Yes, sir,
Or
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Alright, stand by. Alright, next weapon system we're going to go over is the saw. Now, the saw being a machine gun, again, like we went over earlier, you fire in bursts. So a sustained rate of fire for the saw is going to be a 3 to 5 round burst every few seconds. Alright, now in order to achieve that 3 to 5 round burst, there's a very easy way of doing that. I want you guys to memorize a phrase. That phrase is die motherfucker die. Alright, you say that phrase in your head when you hit the trigger. When you finish that phrase, let go of the trigger. There's your 3 to 5 round burst. Alright, and please say it inside your head, because if you say it out loud, you sound like a fucking psycho. So, die motherfucker die, and then let off the trigger. So, a sustained rate of fire for the saw is going to sound something like this. Oops, I put my earplugs in. So, much like with the M4, a rapid rate of fire is going to be doubling that. All right, so instead of a 3 to 5 round burst, you do 5 to 10 round burst every few seconds. And again, rapid rate of fire is guys inside of 250 meters. So rapid rate of fire is going to sound something like this. Now, when it comes to a cyclic rate of fire, again, cyclic does not mean just holding down the trigger. You're essentially just, again, going to double your rate of fire. Right, so instead of a 5 to 10 round burst, you do a 10 to 15. Now, with the saw, 10 to 15 round burst, that's a lot of fucking lead to be throwing down range. So, again, this is when they are danger close. They're pretty much right on top of you. A 10 to 15 round burst every 2-3 seconds is going to burn through a lot of ammunition. Even though you got a 200 round box or a 100 round bandolier, you're going to rip through that ammunition real goddamn quick with a cyclic rate of fire. Alright, so again, always keep that in mind. A cyclic rate of fire is going to sound something like this. Now, as I said, obviously that's going to rip through a fuck ton of ammunition. But your saving grace with the saw is the fact that you're not the only saw in the squad. Alright, there's 2 saw gunners per squad. And we like to use a technique known as talking guns when working the saws. Alright, so if both saw gunners are engaging in the same area, they can use a technique known as talking guns, where one guy will fire a burst while he's pausing, the other guy is firing his burst, and they just go back and forth with their burst. So they can do, the 2 of them can do a sustained rate of fire and actually be putting out a rapid rate of fire between the 2 of them combined. Or if they're both doing a rapid rate of fire, they're actually putting out a cyclic rate of fire between the 2 of them. Alright? Technique that works very well, doesn't require any communication or anything like that aside from saying, hey, talking guns, and then one guy fires a burst, he pauses, the other guy fires a burst. While he's pausing, the first guy starts firing his burst again. Very, very simple. Now, when communication really comes into play with this, though, is when one of the guns needs to reload. So if the first guy that fired, if he goes empty, he's going to call reloading. When he calls reloading, then that second guy has to pick up his rate of fire. So if you're both doing sustained, he now has to switch it to a rapid rate of fire to make up for that first gun being down. So you still have the same rate of fire going outbound. However, him switching to rapid rate of fire is going to make him burn up his ammo quicker. So as soon as that first gun is reloaded, he'll call gun up. Once he does that, that second gun is immediately going to go down and reload. While he's reloading, that first gun has to start off with a rapid rate of fire to make up for that second gun being down. Once that second gun is back up, he'll call gun up, and then they both just fall back into a sustained rate of fire. Alright, you guys tracking?
Affirm for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Alright. So, pretty simple concept when it comes to talking guns. And you can do it with 2 guns, 6 guns, fucking 20 of them if you wanted to. As long as guys are able to pay attention and realize who fired last and who fires next, you're good to go. And you can do it with saws, 240s, any type of machine gun. Now, when rate of fire really comes into play, when you have an entire squad set up in a skirmish line. Alright, so imagine 10 guys shoulder to shoulder. That's how many guys are in a squad, 10. You have your 2 fire teams, your squad leader, and your squad medic. All right. You have all 10 of them lined up shoulder to shoulder in a skirmish line. If all of them are doing a sustained rate of fire, the slowest rate of fire, so you have 8 M4s firing a single round every 2 to 3 seconds, and 2 saws firing 3 to 5 rounds every 2 to 3 seconds. That is a fuck ton of lead that is being thrown downrange by one squad. Right? And there's 3 rifle squads per platoon. So, hopefully you can kind of grasp how much lead we can actually throw quite easily. Right? So you do not have to have a super fucking high rate of fire. You do not need to be putting a round out there every second with your M4 if you're all engaging the same area. Right? You can slow your rate of fire because you've got other guys there basically bolstering your rate of fire. All right. Any questions on any of this?
Negative, First Sergeant.
Go for Sergeant.
All right. So what we're going to do now is for the next 10 mics or so, I'm going to let you guys set up on this range and test out the different weapon systems and firing setups that we've talked about here. That being said, if you want to try something other than the M4 that you're currently carrying, that Connex box right back there has the different rifles that we use. You can use any one of the rifles that are in there. However, do not, I'll say again, do not fire any fucking HE on my rifle range. That means you are not shooting a fucking AT4 and you are not chucking 40 mics out onto my rifle range. Is that clear?
Affirm, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Alright, one of you take this bay here, one of you take the fucking bay right there. Range is hot, you guys are clear to begin engagement whenever you're ready. And yeah, Dingo, I've been streaming for shit over a year now. See how long it takes one of them to pick up a machine gun. Well, they're at least not going fucking crazy with the rates of fire. Oh, there's the first taker. What's he gonna go for? Oh, what do you know? It's the saw. And what's he gonna go for? Oh, it's a saw. What do you know? Neither one of them mounting their weapon and using the sandbags. Yeah, I've had a couple classes where guys have picked up the M14. Yeah. Rabbit gives no fucks. Is he going for the big black dick? Nope. He's scared of it. So he uses the bipod on his M4, but not for the saw. Oh, decided to go back with the saw. Is he gonna mount it this time? Nope. Yeah, unicorn saw gunner. Got his little horn up there.
Question, Sergeant.
Send it.
Regarding weapon temperature, how long does it take before weapon temperature will start to affect your accuracy?
With the M4 carbine, you won't really be able to do it unless you're, blasting through 30 round magazines constantly. With the 249s and the saws, pretty quickly. Normally they will jam up, or especially with the 249s, we carry extra barrels. Weapon squads will normally carry extra barrels if they're expecting to be firing them all the time. And you'll notice with them, that your rounds won't be quite on target. But normally, in my experience and from my squad's experience, they jam up first before they start to really get inaccurate.
Copy that. Thank you.
Alright, go ahead and move yourselves down here. Alright, go ahead and go into your inventory and condition for your weapon.
I will PT you all until you fucking die!
I'm sorry, say again for Sergeant.
Go into your inventory and condition for your weapon. It means remove the magazine from your weapon. Now hold control and press tilde. That's the little squiggly line next to your number 1 key. Put your weapon on safe. You are now condition 4. Anytime you're in a classroom setting, you're not going to be engaging targets. Condition 4 your weapon. Alright. 2 of you feel fairly comfortable on some of the rifles that we use here.
Affirm, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Alright. Any questions on anything that we have covered today?
Negative, First Sergeant.
Alright. Then that is going to be it for day 1 for you guys. Alright, tomorrow we're going to be back in here the same time. Tomorrow's a big day. You have a lot of fucking information thrown at you. Alright, so be ready to take notes. That being said, from this point until you graduate OSUT, I am your direct chain of command. If you have a question, concern, whatever, you bring it to me. Don't go to someone else. You can send me a PM on the forums. If I do not respond to you within 48 hours, then you can contact Sergeant Myers. I can tell you now, you contact Sergeant Myers, first thing he's going to ask you is if you went to the first sergeant. Your answer is no, then he will tell you to fuck off. Bring it to me. If I don't respond, then you can go to Sergeant Myers. Now, there are a couple things you're going to be allowed to do while you are still in the training pipeline. There's going to be a couple things you're not allowed to do. But while you're in this training pipeline, you are allowed to fill in for any trainings, whether it be squad training, platoon training, whatever. You are allowed to fill in as an 11 Bravo for trainings. There are a lot of trainings that happen today as well as tomorrow. Tomorrow is a big day for squads for squad training. So you can fill in for those. You cannot, however, fill in for the large-scale operations tonight and tomorrow. Right? Can't do that until you graduate OSUT, but you can fill in for the trainings, like I said, and I highly recommend you do so. That's going to be it for today. You guys are done with day 1. You are dismissed. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon.
Thank you, First Sergeant.
Alright guys, that is going to be it for OSUT today. We will be back at it later on this evening for Task Force Charlie, where I will be Task Force Commander. So hopefully I will see you guys tonight for the stream. That'll be going live about 8 p.m. Eastern, and I will see you all later.